Hi everyone. Unusual for me to be on Facebook Live at this time of the day. Normally, as you know, those who follow me, I have been using Facebook Live at 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night for my Midlife Wisdom series. And I did so again last night, Wednesday. But unfortunately, for some reason, some gremlin in the works, Facebook didn't save the video, and so I wanted to have the video online so that people who need help can get the help in relation to depression and anxiety at midlife. So for those who've been following me and who follow me on my page, Yvonne Clark Healing, on Facebook, you'll know that I am a midlife empowerment mentor and healer, and I've worked in the holistic therapy world for over 20 years now. And as you can see from my wall, I have a lot of qualifications in working with clients in relation to challenges that they experience at different times in their lives, and predominantly women and those who are experiencing their midlife challenges, and there are many that we have to deal with at midlife, not to mention the things like self-esteem and dealing with the overwhelm of all the changes that happen at this time of our lives. So in the Midlife Wisdom series that I've been doing on Facebook since early March, and all the videos are on my page, as I say, at Yvonne Clark Healing on Facebook. If you haven't seen them and you need help in relation to any of the following issues, then have a check back and look at the videos and share them with your friends as well. I did videos on overcoming self-esteem, how to overcome overwhelm, how to find your life purpose at this point in your life, how to find happiness at midlife, because it's a time when we actually lose contact with ourselves and finding ourselves again and what brings us happiness. And that video has been very highly viewed by people, so check it out. And also I did a video in the series on how to cope with insomnia and different strategies and tips that I give you in each of the videos to deal with those different issues. So one of the things I do twice a month is a question and answer session as well, and I do readings with archetype cards and angel oracle cards on that night. So prior to the night, I look for people to submit questions about challenges they have at midlife, and I do a reading for them and give them some guidance on where to go from where they are at the moment. So watch out for those question and answer videos twice a month. So as I say, every week I'm on Facebook Live at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday. So check me out if you haven't already. And do follow my page so that you don't miss out on any of my videos. I also have a midlife group for women, so that women can interact with each other. And often when we, are experiencing something, we can feel we're alone. And so the group is there so that, women can interact with each other, help each other, get tips and strategies from each other, because often someone else will have experienced something you're going through, and that can be the very thing you need to hear. So apart from the fact that I'll be dropping in with tips and guides and ebooks and so on that will help you through the midlife challenge. If you want to book a session with me, one-to-one, I do my sessions online on Skype, and you can find out more about how to book a session with me. Just message me on Facebook or check out my website at yvonneclark.com. Okay, so today we're going to talk about my five tips for stopping depression and anxiety, and that cycle, because depression and anxiety are linked. Obviously, if we're feeling down, and the more down we feel, the more our anxiety levels do tend to rise. So it's a cycle, and one feeds the other. And it happens quite often at midlife because, as I say, particularly at midlife, we've a lot of challenges as women coping with our own changes in our own physical appearance, our own physiological changes in relation to our hormone changes and the impact that has on our physical body and our health, and also in our environment, in our families, in our relationships, and we become very aware of our mortality at midlife and how many years we have left, because often we're dealing with elderly siblings or elderly parents and helping to care for them and loved ones, and that can be a huge draw on your resources at midlife, and quite challenging. And I know I've been there. My own parents passed in 2011, 2014. So it is a really difficult time, and watching somebody you love deteriorate over time and feeling helpless to, make things better for them. And that is hugely demanding on us emotionally. And it's also a huge wrench to lose somebody you love so close. So I do know, if you're going through that, what that's like, and if you need help with that, then please, contact me, and hopefully I can help you through that particular challenge, because grief is a very difficult thing to cope with alone, and we do need support. So the other thing that can happen at midlife is our children are growing up and have grown up into adults, and perhaps they're moving out in starting their own lives, and we're left with what they call an empty nest, where we were the mother, and now our role as the mother isn't in demand as much as it has been in our lives, and we tend to be the one that they don't want to be around, the one that, cramps their style with their friends and whatever, teenagers especially, and so on. So that's a challenge as well. So with any single change in our lives as humans, then we need time to adjust and to the impact of the change that it has in our lives. And when it involves people who are closest to us emotionally, i.e. our family and friends and loved ones, it can be very challenging to accept that change and to adjust to it. So with the multiple changes that are happening at midlife, it can be a time of extreme challenge emotionally. As humans, we tend to resist change, and these changes are not something that we can control for a lot of the time, and so they are in fact a natural part of life, and that doesn't make it any easier to cope with them, but it is, first of all, they aren't in your control for a lot of the case. But we are all unique, and our ability to roll with change or not can be significant in our mood and how we can cope generally in life. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the brain and the brain's neural pathways, which are formed by our repeated behaviour, our repeated patterns of coping, our moods, our feelings, and our normal actions when we reach a challenge in our lives. And when we face a situation that is emotionally challenging, our brain will search for other times in your past, and it does this automatically without you even asking it to. It does it. It's what it does, and it comes through the memory. It searches in your memory banks, things that you've stored, events that happened, and things you've stored in your past when you faced similar emotional challenge, and it'll kickstart the routine that you carried out before, and it'll just automatically press that routine start button again. So if your routine start button is to just dip down into a mood of feeling bad and feeling down, then that's what the brain will kickstart automatically. So that pattern will automatically repeat in future occasions. So how can we deal with this better and have better behaviours this time for the challenge? Well, the first step is to catch the feeling. Catch yourself out in what you're doing, what's happening automatically to you. Are you feeling yourself slipping down into a spiral of depression? And if you are, then it's about catching that feeling as quickly as you can and choosing a better reaction. I'm not saying it's easy. it's often quite difficult to do this, but awareness in healing anything is the first step. So the neural networks, as I say, are triggered by mood, and your mood might have connected to other moods when you were afraid of bad outcomes in the past, and it'll just kickstart that routine. It's a bit like, putting on, if you remember the records, when you put on a record and put the needle on the record, if you overplayed that record over and over again, it became worn eventually, and the needle stuck in a groove. And that's kind of how the brain works. It gets stuck in a groove, and it keeps playing that particular groove in your life until you change it. So it's about changing the record, or getting a new copy of that record and changing how it plays. So that's how the brain works. It's like the record player that gets stuck on the groove. That groove is your neural pathway, which is formed by a repeated behaviour. So if your repeated behaviour is to go down into a depressed mood, then that's what your brain will automatically kickstart. So the tips I'm going to be talking about are how you can stop that and how you can change your state of being into a happier state of being. And these aren't, these are quick tips, but they're not the solution, because if you're been in a depressive mood for a long time, then obviously you need therapy, and there are therapies that work really well for that. Cognitive behavioural therapy is something I do with my life coaching, and that's very effective for tips for dealing with long-term depression. But what I'm talking about here is what we can do day to day to step out of that cycle of going down and allowing our mood to sink and our anxiety levels to rise. So these are just some quick tips for you. So whether we're thinking about the future in a positive way or a negative way, it kickstarts the brain into the same routine. So we tend, as when we're in depression state or in a feeling bad or down day, we tend to look to the future with the glasses of the past and the glasses of the feeling that we're in at the time. So we tend to kind of look to the future as more of the same of what we're feeling. And of course that's not correct, but it is something that we do, and that kickstarts the same groove of just feeling more down about the future and losing heart in how you can move forward. So whether our feelings, and just so you know that this brain mechanism kicks in the same way if we are feeling happy. So if we're feeling happy, the brain seeks to reinforce that with giving you evidence of other times and other places and other occasions in the past when you felt happy, and that boosts your mood and makes you feel even more happy. So the brain seeks to provide evidence to you of what you're feeling and thinking so that you can reinforce that in your life. So remember that, because that's important. It doesn't just work for the bad days, it also works for the good days. So it's a very powerful mechanism that's there, and it's how to work that out so that it doesn't work against you in life. So the first tip I'm going to give you is, when you're feeling down, is to remember a time in the past when things worked out fine, and despite the change that was going on in your life. So despite change or despite challenge, things that you overcame in the past and how you did that. And if you're not sure how to do that or how to remember those things, maybe you can't even remember them, times that you successfully dealt with challenge in a really positive way, then friends are, talking to friends is a good way to get them to tell you about times that, God, do you remember the time that you dealt with that so quickly, and I was surprised at how positive you were and how easy you found it to deal with that. And they will jog your memory into remembering those times when you did deal successfully with things in your life that were challenging. And often we forget them because we're in the flow. We're in the flow when we're doing things successfully. And our brain tends not to hang on to that. It tends to notice more the things that stick us, the things that make us feel stuck. And it thinks they're so important that it really puts those in a priority in our memory so that we can, survive, because that's our survival mechanism kicking in. And so allow friends to refresh your memory in relation to things that you've been challenged with before and how successfully you overcame those. And that can be a really positive thing to do. So that's my first tip. And the second tip would be something I do often when I'm feeling, I'm in a kind of a downward spiral, or I'm feeling bad or down. And we all do. We all get these days. And sometimes it's about going with the day and allowing it to be that way, because sometimes there's a learning within that downward spiral. There's a learning that we have to get. And sometimes it's the end of something and the beginning of something else in our lives. And from that ability to go down and just be with that feeling, we can suddenly get inspiration about the future. So it's not always a bad thing to be judged that way and to look at it differently. Because sometimes it is about finding ourselves within that downward day to get the inspiration to move forward. So don't be so quick to dismiss our mood. It's not natural to be always happy. The down day also can have a purpose, and a very important one. It's when the down day becomes a down week, and down week becomes a down fortnight and down month. That's when we really need to step out of it and get control of what's going on in our brains. So these tips are how you can get out of that state. So tip number 2, and it's something I do when I am feeling that way, is to take out a photo album of happy events, maybe a wedding you were at, maybe a family occasion, a party, maybe things about your family growing up, your children, events that made you laugh, and get that feeling again and go into that picture and really remember that event, be in it again and hear the people in the event and see them laughing and, look at the child and you get that feeling of warmth towards your own children or other children, and they always make us laugh. So it's about going into that event with all your senses and really experiencing it again and allowing yourself to do that. And it's a really positive thing to do, and it's automatically will switch your state from to, oh, look at all the good times I had in my life, So, that's my second tip, is to really experience it on a feeling level, as well as hearing, seeing, and even, sometimes remembering, if it's a barbecue, remembering the smell of the barbecue. And, sometimes the smell is a really powerful thing to bring us back in recalling events that made us happy. And you might be surprised at the joy and happiness that those physical sensations again bring up in your body and allow you to get in touch with your body memory, because our memories, cells in our body record everything. They record everything that happens to us, mostly this is talked about in relation to traumas, and the cell remembers the trauma, but the cell also remembers the good feelings, the good times. And it's about touching into that in our body and allowing us to re-energize that, cell memory as well. The third tip I would have is that if you don't have a power song that invigorates your state and makes you feel happy, then I advise you to get one. I know mine is a Native American woman who, I have no idea what because she's speaking in her own native tongue. So I don't know what the words mean, but I just know that her voice and the power of her voice speaks to my soul, and it raises my vibration and my energy. And I can't be in a down state when I'm listening to her. She just fills me with new energy and fresh energy for the world and for my life. So if you haven't got that power song, then search it out and, remember to do that. Even if you haven't the power song, you will have music is a really powerful energizer, and it's a powerful switcher of moods as well. So we all remember the songs we have had in our lives when we were really happy. So, for example, for me, it would be when I was leaving school at 17 or 18 years of age, and remembering the big gang of friends that I had and going to the discos every weekend. And, you know, I was a real rock chick and all that kind of stuff, you know. So the Eagles and a lot of rock bands and were kind of my thing, you know, and Phil Lynott and all that was my day. And all his songs, you know, some in particular, but others also trigger it, you know, that memory of when I was then, what I had then, and, you know, the memory of the world was before me and my life hadn't even started, and it was just that feeling of being so happy with my mates and all the big gang of us, men and women that were together at that time. And so that's those songs, when they come on the radio, always trigger that response in me. You know, I could turn it up and really relive that time. So music is a very powerful mood switcher, and to be aware of that. So have those songs that you know that motivate you no matter what's happening. You know, sometimes we just need to switch off from life and switch on those songs and allow ourselves again to experience it, our mood on all levels, you know, to remember the people we were with, see ourselves in that picture in our minds and really feel it on all levels, you know, and hear what we heard and see what we saw, and really get the feeling of, because we haven't changed, we really are that person still, but obviously we've changed in our age and so on, but it's about touching back with who we truly are and what really makes us happy. And so that's always a positive thing to do in switching your mood away from feeling down to feeling really happy. And that really works for a lot of my clients, and I've got really good feedback on that one. So the other thing is that I recommend is number 4 is go to a power place. And if you don't have a power place, I mean by a power place, somewhere that in nature, somewhere you go. It can be a coffee shop, it can be for a walk on the beach, whatever it may be. We all have a place that we like to go for a walk or like to sit and be with ourselves. And I encourage you to do that when you're feeling down, because nature is a great invigorator. It fills you with new energy. And even though you might feel, you know, you're alone in nature, it's still working to make you feel good. I mean, it might be just the colours of the flowers that you're sitting among that will raise your mood. It might be a child playing in the distance and the laughter of other people that can raise your mood. You know, the worst thing you can do is to stay indoors. And I know myself, you can often be tempted to, when you're feeling down, you don't want to talk to people, you don't want to meet anybody, you don't feel like getting up. Okay, have that duvet day. If you really feel you're tired and your body does need the rest, go for that. But don't stay in bed long term, because really and truly, bed saps your energy. It takes all the good feelings out of your body. Well, that's what I find. And it has never helped me to feel better about myself. So even on the days where I don't want to meet anyone, or I don't feel like talking to anybody, and I feel I'm not good company, basically, then I'll go for a walk in my power place, in my nature place that I love to go to. And I'll sit and I'll watch the flowers and I'll watch the people around me. And I don't have to interact with anybody, but I'm getting fresh energy. For a start, I'm getting fresh air, which is in itself hugely beneficial. And, you know, so do that. And don't be tempted to stay in, because 4 walls can really close in on you. I know, I've been there. And you never get out of that mood by staying in those 4 walls that are closing in. So trust me, push yourself to go out and find that place where you feel safe in nature and you don't have to interact with anyone necessarily, or go for a cup of coffee in a nice place that overlooks a beach or overlooks somewhere that you find nice to sit in, and do that for yourself. So it's a great way of interrupting what we do when we're down, which is ruminate about the future. And we tend to not visualize things as being, you know, going to improve, because we're stuck in that groove, remember? So it's about how do we switch out of it. And these are all tips that will allow you to automatically switch out of it, even without, trying to. You don't have to try to. It'll automatically happen because you're switching where you are and you're switching the energy around you. The other thing is to, if you can't get out, and we're not always able to get out, maybe we've to mind some child or something, or we're tied in because there's someone coming to the house or whatever, is to sit for 5 or 10 minutes and put on a feel-good meditation. Find someone that you like their voice, you find their voice enlivens your spirit, or helps you connect with your own energy, because within us, in our soul energy, and I like to call it our soul, that part of us that is connected to the depths of our soul, where we have the power to tune into that and find our own way in the world, find the inspiration that will help us to move forward, and find the place within that helps us to touch base with who we are again. And if we find that difficult to do, it helps that you that you focus on your breathing. If you focus on your breath and just focus on it, does two things. It connects you with your internal world. And secondly, it stops the brain from the continuous cycle of negativity that you will most likely be experiencing if you're feeling down. So it kickstarts our focus within, and it stops the brain from this cycle of feeling down and increasing anxiety in our body. So tune into your breathing. Just literally put your hand on your heart if that helps you to do that. And a lot of the time when we're feeling down, our breath will be short and be up here high in the chest area, like that. And certainly if our anxiety levels are up, it'll be up here. So to slow your breathing down, just focus on even just counting a little bit further out as you breathe out, and a little bit further on your count as you breathe in, and just bringing your awareness to that. And you may only count to 1, 2, and then the next time count to 3, and the next time count to 5, and so on. And just allow yourself to slow your breathing down. It slows your heart rate down. It changes the chemicals that are being released in your body, the hormones that are being released, and they all work to relax you, and to relax you into a better feeling state. And when the mind is following instruction, like it is in a guided meditation, it stops it from doing what it does automatically. So it follows the guidance, and if that guidance is leading you in a positive direction, which hopefully that guided meditation will be doing, then you will be getting back in touch with your own control within your life inside. And when we allow ourselves to take that time to do that for ourselves, then often we get the inspiration that's been trying to battle its way through the cloud. And that often we get inspiration about something we can do to help ourselves, or we'll get the energy to go out and have that walk, or we'll want to pick up the phone and ring a friend, whatever it may be, but giving yourself the time to tune into your own higher guidance, as well as listening to the guidance on the meditation. And sometimes you don't want the guided meditation, you just want a nice piece of music that makes you feel comfortable and makes you feel good about yourself. And we all have that ability to tune into that as well. So they're my 5 tips for coping with depression. And like everything in life, it's a choice. And we often don't believe that we're in control, but actually we always are. It's about the choice we make to take back control, to step back into our own power. And we have that. We also, while we can't control everything that's happening around us or to us, we can control always our reaction to what's happening. So we can choose to be in a better mood. We can choose to react in a positive way. We can choose to react by walking away, or whatever it may be, whatever is the best for us and increasing our self-esteem at any given point in time. and our mood. So you are in control. You're not always able to control what's happening outside of yourself, but you are able to control your reaction to those events and challenges. So I hope this has helped anyone who's experiencing bad mood days, and these are some 5 energy switchers that you can do for yourself and help you to switch your mood again. And remember what I told you about the brain and how it works, and that's true for everybody. So choose to switch your mood today. Choose to be the empowering person in your life today. It's not always up to someone else to come along and help you. It's sometimes the best help we can get is from ourselves and our own power, and stepping into that power within us. So thanks for listening, and as I say, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please share it with friends who may be going through something at the moment. They may have elderly parents who are, needing care, and that's a huge challenge to deal with. So share it with friends who need that little bit of boost in their life today, and how to switch their mood into a more positive, empowering outlook for their life going forward. So thanks again for joining me, and I hope you will tune in to my normal weekly events on Facebook Live on Wednesday nights. Now, next Wednesday I won't be around, so I can't do my normal live event, but I'll be back on the 17th of May, Wednesday the 17th at 9 p.m. on Facebook Live on my healing page on Facebook, Yvonne Clark Healing. And remember, you can join in the group on Facebook for middle-aged women and help each other on that. And that's called Yvonne's School of Midlife. So do send a request on that, and I'll help you to join that group. It's not difficult to do. If you need help, or you would like to book a session with me, which I do online with people, then send me a Facebook message or connect with me through my website at yvonneclark.com, which is being revamped and redone at the moment. So we'll have an exciting new website soon. So thanks again, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful day. The day is a little bit overcast today compared to yesterday, but there's still the blue sky is there, and that the sun is trying to break out. So I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are. Thanks for listening, and do share. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.